Okay, today we're going to work on evaluating expressions versus solving expressions. Well, we can't solve expressions, but versus writing expressions. So this means that this is an equation, this is an expression with no equal that you can substitute numbers in. So we are going to start with a simple one, example, this one up here. So I'm just going to rewrite this with x as 5. So the answer to this one is 11. These should not be much of a challenge, but we're going to go ahead and try one that might be a challenge, which is this one where it's an exponent. So what that means is 2 to the third power. I just substituted 2 where I saw p. We should know by now that 2 to the third power just means 2. Ignore that. 2 times 2 times 2, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. So our solution to that expression when p equals 2 is 8. We are going to move to one that might, I would say, mess you up a little bit. So I'm going to, again, where I see m, I'm going to write the word or the number 1. So this will be 4 over 1 plus 1. So that's 4 plus 1 equals 5. So these should not be that intimidating if you substitute the numbers in and then just solve like you normally would solve. But we're going to take this up a notch and apply it to a geometry situation. So we need to write a couple of formulas up there. Circumference equals 2 pi r, or circumference equals pi times d. Okay? You're also going to write area. Area equals 2 pi r squared, or area equals 2 pi d divided by 2 r, or squared. I will state that in this one right here, I usually just try to figure out what the r is so that I don't have to do any extra business. So we are going to, and Miss Ford likes to call this card because you have C, A, R, D. This worksheet has it written differently, but that's just a piece of information to know. So you need to make sure that you have plenty of place to write, but when you go all the way across, that is the diameter. So the diameter is 8. Well, the radius would be half of that. So that is 4 feet. So we're going to put a 4 in right there. We are going to solve that area and circumference. Make sure that you have room to write. Remembering that our formulas are A equals 2 pi r squared and circumference equals 2 pi r or pi times d. I'm going to go ahead and do pi times d because in this case I have the diameter. So since I have the diameter, I'm going to use that for this one. I'm going to rewrite this as C equals pi times d. Or, sorry, that should say 8 because I am obviously substituting. Now at this point, because it's pi, that is an irrational number that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. So you can either use pi on your calculator, which I'm trying to locate my calculator, or you can use 3.14. We're going to use C equals 3.14 times 8, and we want to show you the difference. If I use 3.14 times 8, I get the answer of 24.12. C equals 24.12, and that is one-dimensional because the circumference goes around it. It's like trying to make a round pin, and it gives us feet. So that means it's just 24.12 feet. Now the area is two-dimensional because it's the whole circle, like so. Okay, so that's the area. That means it's two-dimensional. And we are going to go and rewrite this, substituting in the radius, which is 4, where I see the r. So I'll rewrite this 2 times pi times 4 squared. I'm going to make this a little bigger so that hopefully you guys can see it better. Okay. What this means is area equals 2 times 3.14 times 4 squared. Area equals 2 times 3.14 times 16. 16 comes from 4 times 2. If you're using your calculator, you can just push the whole thing, all the buttons, and make it give up your answer. I do want to pause and have you guys do both of these problems utilizing the pi button versus the 3.14 button. But we're going to do that in just a second once I show you what the answer to this one is. The answer to this one is area equals 226.08 feet squared. And you will fill that in right here, 226.08 feet squared. Now I'm going to push pause. I want you guys to calculate those same things, but instead of using 3.14, you're going to use the pi button. So making sure that you see that there is a slight difference. When the numbers are smaller, it is a big difference when the numbers get bigger. All right, we are going to come back and do number 2. Still filling out the same information. I'm going to write the radius is 7. So if this is 7, then all the way across is 14. And I need to put the inches because Miss Ehringer sucks at doing that. She forgets. And I'm going to change to the color red so that hopefully we can see it. I'm going to do circumference on this side. C equals pi times d. And I'm substituting in 14 for the d. So C equals 14 times pi. Remember that we can move those around because of the associated property of multiplication. As long as they are the only things being multiplied, you are good to go. So I'm going to do 14 times 3.14, and I get circumference equals 43.96 inches, and this is one-dimensional because it remembers it is the fence. So it's one dimension. So that means our circumference is 43.96 inches. We will do the area equals, let's see, we had 2 pi r, no. I think it's just pi r squared, which means I screwed the whole thing up. Let me make sure. You guys will be given the formula, so please forgive me. You are quite used to me picking the wrong formula. You will be given the formula. Area of circle. Watch, maybe. It's pi r squared, so there's no 2 in front of it. That's great. So we're going to come over here. Okay. We're going to use our handy dandy little eraser. I'm hoping that it's small enough. It probably isn't. But we're going to erase the 2. There's a 2. There's a 2. There's a 2. There's a 2. And then we're going to use our calculator again and do the 226. We're going to do 3.4 times 16. And we should get 113.04 feet squared. So it goes to show that we do not necessarily keep these formulas in our brain, which is why they give them to us. So the only thing that I screwed up at this point was I added the 2 on, and I did not need to add the 2 on. So we should have made that correction where we erased all the 2's in the area. I'm going to do the same thing up here and erase the 2's in this area. There we go. So now we can go back to our original problem. I'm so sorry that I messed that up, but that doesn't surprise me. Remember, we are doing this to practice both our geometry skills and to practice our substitution skills. They are both applicable when you are given the diameter or the radius. So area equals, let's do it right this time, pi r squared. Okay, now since we know the diameter is 14, our radius is 7. So I'm going to write area equals pi times 7 squared. Area equals pi times 49. And if you're using your calculator, area equals 3.14, which is pi times 49. Again, this is two-dimensional. So therefore, we need to make sure that we are giving it the squared when we do our solution. So 3.14 times 49 equals $153.86. Well, it's not dollars. 153 inches squared. All right, push pause if you guys need to finish copying it. I'm setting it bigger so that you can see it. And then we're going to move on to number 3. All right, number 3. The diameter goes all the way across, 18 feet. The radius is only half of that, so it's 9 feet. Circumference equals pi times d. Circumference equals 18 times pi. Area equals pi r squared. Got it right this time. Woohoo. So we're going to do area equals pi times 9 squared. Area equals 81 pi. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator on both and type area equals 81 times 3.14 for my area. Let's see. 81 times 3.14. That is not right. 81 times 3.14. We get area equals 254.34 yards. This is two-dimensional, so it gets the 2 at the end. The other one is 18 times 3.14, and you get that's a times 56.52. And that is yards, but it is only one-dimensional because it's measuring length. We're going to go fill them in. Area is 254.34 yards squared. Circumference is 56.52 yards. All right, so I'm assuming that you guys understand that our goal is to finish this. I will let you know when they are due, but you will be given some class time today, I believe today, to work on it. If you have questions, please let me know. I may or may not have answers posted somewhere in the room for you to check as you work.